Okay, so let's start with an introduction into your first week in the Fat Loss Project. I want to run through just the basics of how you're going to structure your cardio training and your strength training and how you're going to put this all together. So the first thing you're going to start with each day is going to be your cardio training. Now, the first thing I should mention is the time of day that is ideal for doing your workout program. Ideally, you should do this in the morning, but really, because people have such different schedules, it's whenever you can fit it in. Everything else being equal, I would prefer you to be able to do this first thing in the morning after you wake up. If not, not a problem. But just know that that is the best for getting a higher boost in your metabolism and burning more calories throughout the day. The next thing I want to talk about is your cardio. So when you start with cardio, you're basically doing a 5-minute warm-up, and you'll see that in your program. You're doing 5 minutes, and the purpose of the warm-up is just to bring your temperature up so just until you break a sweat. And really, it doesn't matter what intensity you work out, none of that really matters. As long as you're just breaking a sweat at the end of that 5 minutes, you're sufficiently warm. So then you'll immediately start your intervals. Now, intervals are, if you're not familiar with them, high intensity and low intensity cardio that are interspersed. So basically you do, for instance, your first week will be 2 minutes high intensity, 3 minutes low intensity. The exercise you pick is not as important as structuring your intensities. So I'd like you to do some sort of whole body cardio exercise. What I mean by that is things like jogging, walking, running, elliptical trainer, anything like that, as opposed to stationary cycling, recumbent cycling, or any cardio exercises where you're sitting down. The reason for that is because when you're involving your whole body, you're getting a much bigger metabolism burn, you're burning more calories, you're getting more muscles involved, and you have much better results. So that's really up to you what you choose. Things like skipping rope and shadow boxing that can be done in the position that you're in, so you don't need any space for it, are also completely acceptable. So if you can't get out and go for a run or go for a walk or anything like that, all you need is 4 square feet in your living room, and you can do things like even pseudo skipping or shadow boxing or jumping jacks even. So none of that stuff is really as important as getting these intensities in. So for the intensities, your high intensity intervals are basically as hard as you can go for that entire duration. So if I've given you 2 minutes high intensity, that means you're going at near maximum as hard as you can for that 2 minutes. And that's completely different for everybody. So 2 minutes high intensity for me might be completely different from what 2 minutes high intensity for you are. None of that's important as long as you're pushing yourself to near maximum for that 2 minutes. And then the 3 minutes, you just bring your intensity down and recover, so then you can repeat that again. The whole idea of the recovery interval is to give yourself a little bit of a rest so you can then do another high intensity interval. So how that would look, let's use jogging for instance. So if you decided that you want to do jogging for your cardio, the 2 minutes high intensity might be jogging at a fairly fast pace, again, as hard as you can, for 2 minutes, and then immediately after you've completed 2 minutes high intensity, you might bring that down to a fast walk for 3 minutes. Then at the end of that 3 minutes, you then do your next high intensity of 2 minutes, so you'd be jogging again. So it would look like jogging as hard as you can for 2 minutes, walking fast for 3 minutes. Jogging as hard as you can for 2 minutes, walking fast for 3 minutes. So you'll see all that in your program guide. It'll tell you exactly how long you're supposed to go for and around the approximate intensities. All you need to know is that you're choosing an exercise that's a full body exercise, and again, this is your choice what you do, and then make sure that you're pushing yourself to the maximum for that time that you're given, and then allowing yourself to recover for the recovery interval. And the next thing we want to get into is the actual strength training exercises. Now, these exercises are put together in circuit format, and that's really important. A circuit format is just doing one exercise after the other with no rest in between, all together, and then resting at the end of one circuit. So you have 6 exercises here. You're going to be doing exercise 1 through 6 without taking rest in between, so you just go from one exercise to the next, and then you'll rest 60 to 120 seconds at the end of one circuit. And then you'll repeat that circuit for one more set and then another. So you're doing 3 total sets. I'll give you the exact reps that you're going to do each day. You're only resting 60 to 120 seconds at the end of your circuit, and then you're doing all 6 exercises in a row within that circuit. So hopefully that makes sense. If you're not familiar with circuits, it's basically just doing one exercise after the other, resting at the end. This is opposed to traditional style strength training where you do one exercise, you rest, you do the exercise again and you rest, you do it again, you rest. You'll notice that some of the exercises have different variations. For instance, the push-up as well as the bench dip have different versions. You're going to choose the one that allows you to get closest to the rep range that I've given you. So if I'm telling you to do 10 reps, you're going to pick the version that allows you to get closest to that. So obviously, if you can do 10 reps of a regular push-up and you can do 20 reps of a bench push-up, you're going to choose the regular push-up. Choose the one that allows you to get closest to the rep range that I've given you. You also notice that the first week is body weight only exercises. And the reason for this is because it's going to allow you to start working all these muscles that might not have been worked for a while, and allows you to prepare your body for the weeks to come. So you're not actually using any external resistance. This makes it really easy if you don't have any of your weights yet or anything like that set up, because you're only using body weight. Where it can get a little tricky when you're just using body weight is you can't really adjust a whole lot of it because it's your body weight. And that's why I've given you these variations on some exercises. Another thing to note is, for instance, the first exercise is a prisoner squat. You might not be able to achieve the full range that you see me demonstrating in the video. That's perfectly fine. For all of these exercises, you're only doing what you can do comfortably. It's not about achieving exact form that I'm doing, because you might not be able to get there yet. And I understand that, and that's fine. If you can do the same form as me, I hope that you try and get that, and that's great. But I also understand that some of this stuff, you're just not going to be able to get there quite yet. And the idea is, as we progress through the weeks, you'll get better and better at this, and pretty soon your form will be perfect. There's certain things that I'll tell you in the exercise videos that you do want to make sure that you're sticking to. For instance, I want you to keep your back straight. That doesn't matter. It's not really a variation or a difficulty part of the exercise. It's just proper form. What I'm talking about is certain range. So for instance, on the bench dips, if you can't go all the way to the floor, you don't have to. Only go as far as you can. The same thing with the push-up and the same thing with the squat. It's about going as far as you can while keeping form that's close to me as possible. So that's all there is basically for your first week. You know, again, this is just kind of a prep phase for the weeks to come. So look at this as kind of a kickstart to get everything working and going. You might be a little sore if you've not worked out in a little while. That's perfectly normal. But the important thing to realize is that as you work out, if you're sore, it'll help loosen up those muscles, improve your recovery, and actually reduce some of that soreness. So good luck, and I will talk to you very soon.